What is going on, my bourbon and boxing fans? Man, we had our super fight tonight, and yes, I've had a couple shots of bourbon in me. I didn't start drinking till the main card, and man, what the hell did we just watch? What did we just watch? I can't even explain to you guys the dominance by one guy over another guy who was supposed to be on the same level, man. Crawford, holy shit, to the walls, man. I don't even know what to say about what I just watched. I'm speechless on your performance. Now, I talked about your counter game, and goddamn, man, you absolutely showed that tonight. I'm lost at words. But what I'm even more amazed about, I mean, I said it, yeah, you need it to establish the jab, but motherfuck, you lived on it, and you made him eat every motherfucking jab you threw. I almost feel like when he damaged, Spence's eye, obviously fucked his eye up, could he not see out of that eye? And did he not say anything into his corner? Because he kept eating those jabs all motherfucking night. And then, like I said, I talked about Crawford's counter game. I talked about it and his ability to switch it up, his instincts in the ring. I mean, I talked about how dominant he was, but man, I didn't see this coming. I don't give a fuck who you are. You didn't see this shit coming, dude. You didn't see this shit coming. Nobody saw this type of dominance coming. I knew Crawford and I picked Crawford to win this fight, so I knew he was the better fighter. But man, holy mother of God, I think I just watched the most dominant performance by a boxer against another big time boxer that I've ever seen in my existence in watching boxing. Now I go back to the Mike Tyson days. Is how far I go back. You know, I was born in '81, but no, I didn't have the privilege of watching Sugar Ray and Tommy Hearns and all the four kings in the '80s. I didn't have that privilege to be able to watch those guys. But man, I've got the privilege of watching Terrence Bud Crawford. And I've got the privilege, and I mean, my jaw was on the floor from round two on. And I mean, you all watched this motherfucking fight. And if you didn't, and you're a boxing fan, fuck, you just missed possibly, if not the most dominating performance by a boxer, man, in any big fight. I mean, Ali had the rope a dope against Foreman, right? To where Foreman was, he tricked him, and then he outboxed him in the later rounds. But Bud came out after the first round, knew he figured him out, knew he figured him out, and just absolutely put an ass whooping on Spence. You can't justify, you cannot clarify it. You can't do anything but call that a 100% ass whooping from one guy to another. If I saw that shit on the street, I'm like, bro, that dude got his ass whooped. If I was at that fight, I'm like, bro, that dude got his ass whooped. There ain't no motherfucking doubt about that, man. I mean, my wife is sleeping, my kids were sleeping. I'm trying to hold my composure. I mean, I was excited. Like I was like a little kid you just released into a candy store. That's no lie. And you told me that I was allowed to get any motherfucking thing I wanted in that candy store, right? And you said, "Go crazy, bro. You can get anything you want." That's how excited I was for this fight. And to contain my emotions because my wife was sleeping and I let it get out of hand, especially that first knockdown. I'm like, "Oh, I told you motherfuckers. I told you motherfuckers." I was hyped up. and I had to control those emotions. I was talking out loud to myself because I ain't got nobody to talk to with this shit, when I'm watching it. It's fucked up, but it's true. I watch it by myself. I like that because when I invite people over, these motherfuckers want to party all day. We smoking weed and drinking and shit. And it ends up being a party and I miss all the undercards and then get to watch the main fight. But man, I couldn't control my emotions. I was talking out loud. I was telling motherfuckers, "Hey, he's gonna knock him out." I predicted in my prediction that Crawford would get the later round knockouts. But man, come on, guys. What we just watched? We just watched the pound for pound number one fighter in the world. I don't give a shit who you are. If you watch that and you came away with, oh, Crawford, and you still ain't a Crawford fan, then you're just a fucking hater, bro. That's a fact. What we just watched, some shit we ain't never going to see again in our entire life. We watched one man dominate another man that was supposed to be. I mean, even at one point in the fight, it was hilarious. I don't know who the announcer was, but he said, man, this guy is the champ for God's sakes. And Crawford was treating him like a punk. He was treating him like an everyday average dude. I mean, when I say my jaw was on the floor, I had to take a couple shots. I had to contain myself, that excitement, because I told y'all what Crawford was going to do. I predicted Crawford winning that fight. I ain't predicting dominating like that. I ain't going to take credit for that. I will not take credit for that. I didn't predict him dying. I thought it was going to be a closer fight than what it was. I knew Crawford was going to try to trap him in. And Crawford's new name should be the Spider. Honest to God, he should be called the Spider because he traps him. And you even saw it fifth, sixth round. It looked like Spence started landing some good punches, and then out of nowhere, bam! Crawford hits him with a counter, knocks him down, and I'm like, holy shit! I mean, it was so fast, man. Teddy Atlas talked about the speed of Crawford, and Teddy's a big Crawford fan, man, and he tried to warn everybody also about what he saw in Crawford and breaking tape down with him, and when watching tape on Crawford one time. And he said, "Man, this dude's special, special, special." I'm telling you right now, Canelo don't want none of that, bro. Nobody in the boxing game is on Terrence Crawford's level. And on Tuesday or Wednesday after the Inoue fight, I did a special on the Inoue phone fight because I was so impressed with Inoue's performance. Man, I mean, when you watch something so and we got the privilege that not once this week did we get to watch something special. We got to watch two special performances this week. Inoue's performance, I was blown away by that, but I was just in awe at Bud Crawford. I stopped everything I was doing. I couldn't keep my mouth off the ground. And I'm telling you guys, man, if you didn't get to watch that fight, you missed out. You missed out on one of the biggest ass whoopings I've ever seen in my life. And I honestly thought with the former surgery on Spence's eye that his corner should have stopped that before the fifth round even started. His eye was fucked up after the third and fourth round. His eye was gone. And as much as I wanted to see Crawford win that fight, I don't want to see Spence never fighting again. And that's what it was leading to because Crawford, like I said, and I think Spence couldn't see out of that eye. He wasn't telling his corner. He wasn't telling anybody. But I promise you, he couldn't see out of that eye because Crawford was landing that jab like it was peanut butter and jelly time, baby. I mean, just non-stop. Jab, 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 jab. And just landing it efficiently. We talked about his speed. He's very underestimated in his speed. But I told you all about his accuracy. I told you he's not going to throw as much as Spence does, but he's going to land the more efficient power punches. 58% of his power punches were landed tonight. Just set back, stop for 1 second, and fathom 58% of the power punches being landed. The accuracy on that, the setting the guy up, knowing you were going to throw that punch and you were going to land it. And when you say confidence that you saw in a guy in the ring, Crawford knew he had him. He knew he had this fight. He knew he was going to dominate this fight. And man, I'm just, God, I don't know what to say, man. Uh, let's take a shot, man. This is bourbon and fucking boxing, baby. Right? This is what we do. This is what we love. This is what we talk. And I told y'all, man, I don't just watch boxing. I live that shit, bro. I live that shit. That's a fact. I watch every week, dedicated fights that people aren't going to watch. I watch those fights, man. I talk about it. I love it. I love this sport. And if you love this sport, tune in, man. Tune in to Bourbon and Boxing because I'm going to give you the best outlook on what I see, the most realist outlook on what I see. I'm not owned by anybody. I don't work for anybody. This is a hobby for me, but I love it. It ain't just a hobby. It's a hobby I love, man. I love boxing. You know what I mean? I love that shit. So let's take a shot and talk about just the complete dominance by Crawford, man. This shot is for Terrence Bud Crawford, the undisputed, unified welterweight champion of the world. It ain't strap season, baby. It's hunting season by Crawford. Shit, closing that up. You know what I mean? But guys, man, it's late. I work in the morning, but I don't give a shit. I waited all week for this. I know you all waited all week. We waited 5 years for this motherfucking fight. 5 years. And everybody kept telling me how special Spence was. I watched Spence. A hell of a fighter, bro. A hell of a fighter. No doubt about it. I don't take that shit away from him at all. But man, I kept telling y'all about Crawford. I kept telling you about his counter and watching this guy in the ring. Tonight, man, like I said, I couldn't have predicted that type of dominance. I don't think anybody could. What we watched was a most beautiful display of dominance by a guy. The biggest message that could have been sent to the rest of the fucking boxing world that, hey, I'm number one. There's no motherfucking questions asked. Like I said, I said in a way, I asked y'all earlier in the week, hey, could in a way possibly, does he have, does he have an argument for being the pound for pound number one? Fuck no, he don't. Not anymore. Moving down to number two. He can argue to be the number two pound for pound, but there is nobody in the country, nobody in the world better than Bud Crawford. He showcased that tonight. The fucking ring IQ that this guy has. Did you watch him, man? He set the traps. Call this motherfucker the spider, bro. The spider. We've never seen that shit. And it wasn't against fucking okey doke Paul from the corner store or a cab driver who just came out of the cab or a dude that was laying concrete last week. It came against a 3 belt holder, welterweight division dominated Errol Spence, trained by the trainer of the year, Derek James. So he didn't just go out there and fight some bum. He took on the number one challenge. They both wanted this fight, so I give them both credit for wanting this fight. But man, the dominance, the display of athleticism, the IQ, what we watched, I don't think I'll ever see something like that again. Ever in my time in boxing. Well, God, I mean, come on, people. You can't question Bud Crawford anymore. There's no questions. The only question is now, who's next? It can't be Boots. He'll beat the brakes off Boots. I'm sorry. After watching that, he'll beat the fucking brakes off Boots. And I'm impressed by Boots, but Crawford will beat the brakes off this kid. Uh does Spence said, at the end of that fight, I'm going to go after the rematch. And I think, yeah, he can go and he can try to make adjustments, but man, he doesn't have an answer for Bud. And if he's smart, he might want to stay away from Bud. Uh, and who does Bud fight next? Does he move up and weight? I mean, he went from lightweight, junior welterweight to welterweight, and he's dominated every division. The biggest question on him was, can his power come with it? Will his power go up as he goes up? Motherfuck, yes, it will. Yes, it will. He's shown it. He's shown everybody when he was in the lightweight division knocking folks out, and in the junior welterweight division knocking folks out. And then now he is in the welterweight knocking the bigger, supposed to be better fighter out. Oh my goodness, guys. What did we watch tonight, baby? If you didn't watch it, I feel sorry for you. There is no going back and rewatching that fight. If you didn't watch that live, you missed possibly the greatest boxing performance by any individual person in the history of boxing. And there's a lot of great boxers out there, and there's a lot of great boxers in history, but ain't one boxer put that type of dominance on. And I felt like he could have knocked Bud out, or he could have knocked Spence out easily in the fourth or fifth round. But I think he wanted to send a message, man. I don't think he wanted to knock him out. I think he wanted to punish that man. He wanted to punish him. He'd been waiting years and years for this fight. He'd been hearing the talk. He'd been hearing the social media. He'd been hearing everybody tell him he can't beat Spence. Spence is better than him. Well, he answered those questions, didn't he? And he shut everybody the fuck up. He shut them all up. And I told everybody, if you watch Bourbon and Boxing, baby, you would have known what was coming tonight. You would have known because I told you. Tune into my shit. I don't just watch it. I fucking live this shit, bro. Every weekend. It don't matter if it's a fight in Mexico, a fight in Canada. I'm watching that shit, man. And I love it. I love this sport. If you love this sport, you're tuning in with me. You're drinking your bourbon or whatever the fuck you're drinking on, and you're watching boxing every weekend. I'm so dedicated. I told my wife we had a fireworks show. I live around the Anderson, Ohio area, and we had our yearly festival going on. And we spent time there. We had a good family day. But I made it clear, 10 o'clock, the fireworks start. Yeah, you got me fucked up. 9 o'clock, I'm going home. I'm watching this shit. I don't give a shit. I ain't missing this fight. There was no way I was gonna miss that fight. She dropped me off and went back out with the kids to watch the fireworks. As I watched the fireworks on TV, watch Bud put on one of the greatest displays. And it didn't happen at 10 o'clock. I got to watch that Isaac Cruz fight before that on the co-main event. But man, people, what's next for Bud Crawford? That's what you got to ask yourself. Who's going to step up and challenge this man? Because there ain't nobody in boxing going to do it. That's a fact. There's nobody in his weight division at welterweight that's going to do it. I mean, can he move up? Take on a challenge at another level? Or does he just continue to dominate the welterweight division for years and years, man? No one is taking those belts away from him. God, did you guys watch it? Did you watch it? Come on, man. Tell me. Speak right now. I'm live. Did you watch this shit, bro? It was dominance. It was a display of just beautiful, man. You can't describe it any other way. Just beauty. I was watching this guy just pick apart Spence round after round after round after round. Just pick him apart, trap him, make him come to him. Don't fight on the outside. I said Spence should fight on the outside. Make Crawford come in. Crawford's a junkyard dog. Regardless, he would have came at Spence. But he stood in the middle of the ring and he boxed him. Bad, bad, bad decision. I mean, I really don't know what Arrow could have done. Arrow Spence. I don't know what Spence could have done any different in that shit that would have changed the outcome of that or made that a close fight. Made that what everybody anticipated it to be, right? No one saw that shit coming, man. I love Crawford. I'm a big Crawford fan. I'm not a fanboy of anybody, so don't get me fucked up on that part. Not a fanboy of anybody. Keep that shit to yourself. But I'm a fan of certain boxers. And if you ain't a fan of certain boxers, then why the fuck are you watching boxing? Otherwise. But I picked Crawford. And it wasn't in a fanboy type motion, like, oh, I'm a fan of Crawford, so I'm gonna pick Crawford. Nah, man, that was me picking Crawford because I've watched him. I've watched this man set in the ring and pick many boxers apart. I've watched him counter. I've watched him switch. And I've watched him adjust in the middle of a fight like no other fighter has. That's why I had the confidence in this man coming in. No question at all that he was going to beat Spence. But like I said, not even I could have predicted that ass whooping we saw tonight. Uh I don't have much else to say, man. It's late. My adrenaline is rushing after what I just watched. The excitement of seeing a guy like that, uh, watching that fight as a boxing fan. That's what we tune in for, man. That's what we tune in for. And all week we got it, man. Thank you, boxing. 2023 has been a fucking amazing, dude. Amazing. You guys have put on the best fights. And as a boxing fan, I want to thank you personally. I'm going to take my last shot and we're going to wrap this motherfucker up tonight. And we're going to give a hats off to the undisputed, unified, welterweight, world champion, Bud Crawford, baby. Congratulations. You put the fucking boxing world on notice. Ain't nobody on your level, son. Nobody. Pound for pound, number one. I talked about it anyway. Nah. It's seriously Bud Crawford and everybody motherfucking else. I like Canelo. He's not a Crawford. Uh, in a way, he's special. He's really special, but he's not Crawford. Crawford is a whole different level of special, man. Let's get this shot of bourbon in. My ass has got to piss. Should have pissed before I came down. You can see me doing the wiggly. Oh shit, doing the PP dance. Oh shit, player. But hey, hats off to Terrence Bud Crawford for the most dominant performance I've ever seen in a super fight like this. And sending a message to the rest of the boxing world. He is the pound for pound number one. If you got any questions, he just answered every motherfucking one of them. If you had any doubt, well, he just took all that doubt away from you. Let's take this shot, wrap up this live show, baby. I got to get my ass to bed, even with my adrenaline rushing through the fucking roof. And I could talk about this all night, baby. I could talk about it all night. Let's take this shot, though. Thank you guys for tuning in.